Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery here. We get together with our distribution partners most weekday mornings this time, 8 o'clock Central. We spend time talking about strategies, tips, techniques, sharing success stories, but ultimately we're here to support each of you. We have two primary types of distribution partners. We have our RVPs, regional vice presidents. These are the team developers, the team builders. And then we have the white label partners who are out connecting with the small businesses. So there's a role for everyone, and there's no cost to sign up for either role. Today, we're going to circle back to leads, but we're going to talk about it a little bit differently. So hang in there with me if you feel this may be redundant. So regardless what your why is, what your motivating factor, it could be probably one of two things. Either your why is to make money for yourself, probably to make a lot of money, and that's why you'd be an RVP or a white label partner. Or your why may be to help other people. Now, it could be both because they're not at opposition with one another, but one of those two whys is probably what motivates you to be on this Zoom live or listen to the recording and to be involved. So either you're probably in it to make money, a lot of money, or you're in it to help people. But regardless, the only way that you make money and the only way you help people is to start with leads. Because if we have leads, then we can convert them into clients. And if we have clients, that converts into cash for you. Sometimes I talk to some of our partners and they feel that there's some opposing incentives, but it's not, right? If we get clients enrolled, we help them raise the capital, they have what they need, and you get what you want, which is money. Should be a lot of money. So that formula starts with leads. We have to have leads. We have to have leads. If we have no leads, we'll have no conversions. If we have no conversions, we won't help anyone and you won't make any money. We've had prior trainings and talked that there's many different ways to generate leads, many, many different ways. But what we've commonly been asked is, what's the simplest way? Because some of you have your own sphere of influence and some of you are good at marketing one way or the other. And that's not the focus of today. But if we had to just say, what is the, the simplest, most reliable way of having leads so I can convert them into clients, so I can help them and make money, it's to buy leads because it doesn't require any skill set, knowledge, relationships. You just plug in. There are different places that you can buy leads from. We have financial interest in none of them. So we don't care where you get your leads. We're here to share with you strategies and success stories. But I can tell you, and we've talked about Synergy Direct Solution before, that this is currently, now it could change in the future. And frankly, 6 months ago, if you would have asked me, we would have recommended a different lead source. So these resources sometimes ebb and flow. But at this time, this is the lead source that we're seeing the best results with. And I want to dig a little deeper. Again, just to clarify, we get no kickback from them. We have no financial interest in them. We're just here to help you realize that there is a lead source available that's crazy cheap. They frankly give you the leads and then they'll work the leads. But we'll come back to the economics in a moment. On yesterday's training, we talked about our merchant cash advance alternative funding plan. So that's just one type of funding that a client may or may not qualify for after they've enrolled in the Access to Capital program, after they have gone to loan committee. So we understand that process. One of the resources that Synergy Direct Solutions has is specifically targeting merchant cash advance leads. So I want to dig into that a little bit deeper and make sure you see the value. Again, my goal is not to persuade you to do this, but I want you to have the information so you can make an educated decision. So here's from their website. It says their merchant cash advance leads are double verified. They market to merchant cash advance data, UCC leads, and internet leads. We have more than a dozen lead generation sites. Each site has a call to action. They send email campaigns to each. They also run pay-per-click campaigns on all major search engines, drive traffic, and so forth. So they've done the development and they do a lot of work. If you plug into their system, you don't have to pay to do this. They've already done this for you. So some of you are very smart and very talented, and you can do this yourself. And if so, that's fine. But you need to be aware of, at least, there's a system in place already created generating leads. Of our distribution partners that I've talked to, including most recently yesterday, those, and Doug was who I talked to yesterday afternoon, of those that are using this system, they're getting an average of 1 to 2 hot leads per hour through this system. And then the average conversion rate has historically been around 50%, around half. So someone's already created the system. If you want to go create your own system or you have a better system, do it, right? But just realize there's already a system here. The other thing that I think is really important that you understand is what they're providing. And this is different than what we've seen with most other lead sources. The breadth of data that they provide you for each of these leads makes it really easy to close. So let's go through and look at these bullets. They provide you an understanding of what the clients, or I should say prospects, what the prospects' funding needs are. That's great. So you know. So from the first time you interact with them, you know how much capital they're looking for and what they want to use it for. So you don't think that puts you in a very strong position? You're not sitting there looking like a dummy asking, well, do you need any money for your business? What would you use it for? You already know. These people have already contacted them, spoke to them, verified that they want funding, verified how much funding they want, and what they want to use it for. If you have any experience in closing transactions, that's a gold mine, right? But let's go on. They ask them pre-qualifying questions, and you can pick some of those. You can pick the filters. That's what Doug and I were talking about yesterday afternoon. You can pick some of those pre-qualifying questions to filter people out if you want. They obtain contact numbers. So yeah, that's a real number that you can call them. They obtain an email address. Yeah, a real email address that works, that you can email them at. They find out about what they have currently for loans outstanding. They find out about the borrower's credit score. Now, you and I know we don't care about credit score. Credit is fluid, it has no memory. So even if someone doesn't have great credit now, that doesn't mean that they can't get funding, and it doesn't mean that we can't help improve their credit. But they do inquire about that, so you know what you're dealing with. They learn about their credit card utilization. They build rapport with them. They let them know that you or someone on your team is going to be contacting them to help them get the funding that they want and they need. Find out when's the best time to reach them. You know, maybe there's someone that works the night shift, and so you don't want to call them in the mornings, for example. And then they give you a recap. So again, you may see this differently, and I appreciate diversity and different views. But I mean, how much more could you ask for? What you're not getting is the close. And Alfred's always keeping me on my toes. And Alfred says, well, why don't they close the deal? Well, that's not this transaction. These are the lead gatherers for you. The next step is closing. And so, Alfred, you could close, or we could have someone else close. But this is a powerful data set. So I want to pause for a moment and get feedback from each of you. We have 214 of you on here. What are your thoughts about this data set? If you could sit back and receive on average 1 to 2 hot leads per hour with this data set, would it help you generate more clients? Would it help you help more people? Would it help you make more money? So Alfred, Andrea, Ayana, Bernard, Collis, DeWood, Ernest, Frankie, Jeanette, Linda, Pauline, Phyllis, Quincy, Sonia. We've got a couple hundred more than the names I read off. But what's your feedback? If you had this type of data set, I feel it's obvious, but I want your confirmation, or if I'm seeing it wrong, let me know. Now, what they're not doing is closing. We clarified that. Yes, I know, Alfred. And they're not even pitching the solution. They're bringing you a qualified hot lead. So at some point, someone's going to need to interface with the lead and close them, or you have a landing page that you drive them to that closes them for you, like Jeff did with his 400 conversions. Jeff didn't talk to anyone. He bought the leads, had them driven to his landing page. Some people would sign up right away, had automation, drip marketing, drip email, and then others signed up later. He averaged 53 to 54% conversion, never talked to any of them, but that's not my point. This is one hell of a data set. Now, we might say, well, what does it cost? If you look at their, let's see, here's more information about what they gather, but let's go over to this other tab on their page, and they break down their pricing. And most of you that I've talked to are using their virtual assistant model. And so it's important to understand how that works. They provide the person to go generate the leads for you, and they provide the leads for them to call. So you're able to avoid calling, you're able to avoid buying leads. They essentially provide the leads, and they provide the person to call the leads to get that data set that you're wanting, that you're needing. But they do charge, right? They charge $9 an hour. So what do we need to do? If we don't have $9 an hour to pay them, we can either help you get some funding, so you have that. You could build a team and kind of approach it as a team and share the cost. It would be another option. There's been some discussion about us starting to provide this service for our white label partners, so the white label partners don't have to pay for it themselves. That's not in place yet. But my goal today in our Brief Friday training is just simply letting you know that if you're not, because let's step back. As a white label partner, we give you a 30-day grace period. And after that 30-day grace period, we say, hey, we want you to be active. And active is defined as helping 2 clients a week. Very, very doable. I mean, if you're doing this, you'll be helping 1 to 2 clients a day, most likely. But if we get past that 30-day period and we're not helping any clients, then there's a disconnect, right? There's a broken promise. And so we're here to help and assist and support, but it requires your involvement. And so this is one option. So you may want to consider, if you look at your numbers, we're about a third of the way through November. If you've not enrolled 2 to 3 clients in Access to Capital or SB Express or what have you, you may want to consider getting a virtual agent. If you say, well, yeah, that makes sense, but I don't have the $9 an hour to pay them, let's visit about that. That shouldn't be the obstacle. That shouldn't be the barrier, because we can either get you some working capital, you could team up with others and share that expense, or again, there's some internal discussion about us just making this part of the value proposition of being a white label partner and just providing the leads, but that's not in place yet. If that's something you think we should do, let us know. All right, so brief trainings on Fridays. This is what I wanted to reiterate. You should be familiar. You may not want to use them, and I don't care if you use them or not, but Synergy Direct Solutions, we've talked about them multiple times. I guess solution, singular. We talked about the cash advance leads and how valuable they are. And then we've shown you here on the business loan page, the pricing. Many of you, including Doug yesterday, I spoke with, and Doug's not on the training this morning for whatever reason, have actually talked. I believe his name's Kyle. Forgive me if I have this wrong, but I think Kyle is the owner, if I have that correct, of Synergy Direct. And it has, I mean, he talks to the owner, and it's real people providing real services. Sometimes I hear they're a little slow to respond. I don't know. It's not my company. But they have different pricing models. All we're simply talking about is encouraging you to consider this, which will be profitable. I mean, if let's say you average 1 lead an hour, and so you get them for 25 hours in a week. So that's 25 leads in the week. If you close 1 of 25, it would be much more than profitable. I mean, so your break even is at it's one, right? If you close one a week, you'd be still making money. And what I just want to close with are two things, I guess. They're providing the leads. If you use the virtual agent, you don't have to buy any leads. They provide the leads. You're just paying for their manpower to call them. And then secondly, as we just looked at a moment ago, the data set that they're providing is crazy good data. So if you're an RVP, I think you should be considering your white label partners to consider this. If you're a white label partner, look at your numbers. If you're not on track, if you don't have 2 to 4 enrollments already this month, we probably need to do something different so we don't get to the end of November and realize, oh no, you're in breach of contract. Because the deal is, we waived the license fee for you to come aboard as a white label partner. Our pleasure to do so. Your promise was, after a 30-day grace period, to help at least 2 clients a week. This will fulfill that, help people, make a lot of money for you. All right, well, thanks everyone. Have a good day. We'll see you back on Monday morning. We do have our next funding committee tomorrow morning on Saturday. As usual, we have a pretty good agenda, but if you have other clients that look like that they're ready to go, email us in, support@businessparalegalcorp.com. And as long as they've populated their Dropbox with the files we need for their loan package, they can be on the agenda tomorrow. And then by Monday, we should have a funding plan for them. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. Bye.